Exercises related to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This document provides exercises to learn some basics of web programming. Mostly these exercises deal with JavaScript programming. To do these exercises, you need an editor and a web browser. The editor should be such that it can highlight the syntax of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript languages. For example, Notepad++ is a suitable editor. You should test your HTML pages with several browsers to ensure that they work as required. Exercises related to basics of HTML. HTML is an acronym of Hypertext Markup Language. With this language, all the pages that are available on the internet are described. These pages are commonly called HTML pages, although they may contain also other languages than plain HTML. The term hypertext is used in the name of the language just to tell that the texts in HTML pages differ in many ways from conventional texts, such as the pages of a book. With HTML, it is possible to describe the content of a web page. In addition, it is possible to use another language called CSS to specify how the content of a web page looks like on the screen. In these exercises, however, we'll just concentrate on HTML. Exercise 1. Create an HTML file, e.g. first_page.html, that specifies a page that contains a heading and 2 paragraphs of text. Use the HTML tags, and in this exercise, as the texts in the heading and paragraphs, you can use any texts you like. Exercise 2. Add an unordered list to your first web page. An unordered list should look like the following when it is shown by a browser. An unordered list can be specified with the tags AND. An unordered list typically contains a number of list items that can be specified with tags AND. After you have created your unordered list, check out what happens when you convert it to an ordered list by replacing the tags AND with AND, respectively. Exercise 3. Add an image to your web page. In this exercise, you must use the tag. As an image, you can use any .jpg or .png file you find on the internet. Exercise 4. Create another .html file that contains a heading and a couple of paragraphs. You could name this new file another_page.html, and you should place it into the same folder where your first .html is. After you have created the new .html page, add a link to the first page so that the browser will load another_page.html when you click the text go to the other page. In the first page, you need to use the AND tags in this exercise. Inside the tag, you need to use a href attribute that specifies which page will be loaded when the link is clicked. Exercise 5. HTML tags like can have certain attributes. The href attribute is mandatory in the tag. Additionally, it is possible to use the title attribute, which specifies a text that emerges when the mouse cursor is moved above a link. This kind of text is called a tooltip. Modify the link that you created in the previous exercise so that a tooltip says this leads you to another page when the mouse cursor is over the link. Exercise 6. It is possible to use a picture, image, as a link. Modify your page so that the picture that is on your page will also serve as a link that leads to another page. Exercise 7. Upload your 2 .html files to a server and test that they work as real internet pages. Exercises with picture viewing.html. When you download the file picture viewing.html, you must also download the images that are located in the subfolder named images. You should have the picture files in this subfolder when you test and develop the page locally on your computer. Exercise 1. Add a new image to the list of pictures that is being displayed by the page. Exercise 2. Add a new button with text previous to the page. By pressing this button, it must be possible to view the previous image. You can add the new button into the same element where the next button is defined. You'll need a new JavaScript function for the new button. The name of the new function could be show_previous_picture. Exercise 3. Add 2 new buttons with which it is possible to shrink or enlarge the shown picture. You need 2 new JavaScript functions for these buttons. The functions should modify the width attribute of the element to change the picture sizes. The height of the picture should adjust automatically when the width is changed. Exercise 4. Improve the page so that a line of text is shown with each picture. The texts should tell what image is in question. You should have the texts in an array of strings. To make this task easier, you can use the file names that are in an array of strings. Exercise 5. Try to find out how to advance to the next picture by clicking the current picture. This means that it should be possible to see the next picture either by clicking the next button or by clicking the currently shown picture. Exercise 1. Modify the CSS style definition so that the initial width of the rectangle border is 6 pixels. Add a new selectable color to the list of selectable colors. The name of the new color must be long green. The web programming page at http://www.naturalprogramming.com has a link through which you can find color names, i.e., strings that can be used for colors. Exercise 2. Add a button with text reset to the page. This button should bring the rectangle to its original position. Additionally, the button should set the color of the rectangle to red. Exercise 3. Add 2 new buttons with which it is possible to adjust the size of the rectangle. The other button should make the rectangle larger and the other button should make it smaller. The style properties which you should modify with these buttons are width and height. You should declare JavaScript variables like var rectangle_width equals 160. var rectangle_height equals 120. These variables should contain the values that will be assigned to style properties. Exercise 4. Find out how to use so-called radio buttons in a web page. Add a number of radio buttons to the moving rectangle.html page so that it is possible to adjust the border of the rectangle with the radio buttons. Exercises with MonthCalendar.html. When you download the file MonthCalendar.html, you must also download the file importable/datemethodsmore.js and put it into a subfolder named importables. The file datemethodsmore.js contains self-made methods to be used with date objects. Those methods are used in English calendar class to convert the calendar to an element. You do not need to use or study those methods while doing these exercises. Exercise 1. The calendar shown in the page is an element that contains an elements and an element. You can't see the actual HTML code of the table as it is generated with a JavaScript method. You can, however, make CSS definitions that dictate what the table looks like. Currently the n elements of the table are colored with yellowish warm colors. Select different colors for these elements, so that they look good together. You can explore color combinations if you go to https://color.adobe.com. The web programming page has a link to acceptable color names. Alternatively, you can use numerical colors definitions such as #43ACF3 and #6ED7F8. Exercise 2. Add more CSS definitions so that those elements that represent days of the previous month or the days of the next month will have a different color. In addition, you should also use a new color for those elements that contain week numbers. You can do this when you note that the JavaScript method that generates the table sets the following IDs for the mentioned table elements. For table cells with week numbers. For days of previous month. For days of next month. After these improvements, the calendar could look as the one in the following picture. In this picture, elements that belong to the previous or the next months have a lighter color. And the elements containing week numbers have the same color as the elements. Exercises with single picture canvas.html. Exercise 1. Modify the page so that the picture will be drawn only once, so that it is drawn exactly in the middle of the canvas area. The picture should be drawn in its natural size. You can position the picture in the middle of the canvas when you know the width and the height of the canvas as well as the natural width and height of the picture. If you use the original picture, it fits well on the canvas. The coordinates that are given to the draw image method specify the point where the upper left corner of the picture is going to be. You must adjust these coordinates so that the picture will be in the middle of the canvas. Sometimes there are problems when we try to draw picture files on a canvas. If you encounter strange problems when you try to draw an image, try some other picture file. Exercise 2. Improve the page so that you draw a frame around the picture that is exactly in the middle of the canvas. One possibility is that you draw, before drawing the picture, a filled rectangle that is slightly larger than the picture. When you draw the picture over the rectangle, the edges of the rectangle will look like a frame. Exercise 3. Improve the program so that you draw a brick wall behind the picture that is hanging in the middle of the canvas area. You can first fill the entire canvas area with a color that is the color of mortar, the material that is between bricks in a brick wall. After you have drawn the mortar, you can draw the bricks so that there is a gap between the bricks. Among the canvas-related pages you can find a page named brickwallcanvas.html. You can copy suitable source code lines from that .html file to do this exercise. Note that it is not dangerous to make drawings outside the canvas area. Such drawings will simply not be visible. Therefore it is possible that you draw the first brick of a row with a negative x coordinate. After you have completed this exercise, the page should look like the following. The page drawing rectangles canvas.html displays a canvas on which you can draw rectangles by using the mouse. Exercise 1. The draw_on_canvas function of the page always draws all the rectangles that the user has drawn so far. In addition, it draws the rectangle that is not yet finished if the user is in the process of drawing. The function uses an array of colors to give each rectangle an own color. It always takes the last color from the array, and puts it to the beginning of the array after it has been used. This way the same color pattern will be repeated if the number of rectangles exceeds the number of available colors. Add a new color to the array and study how it affects the behavior of the program. Exercise 2. Make all the rectangles somewhat transparent. This means that if a rectangle is drawn over another rectangle, the older rectangle is visible through the rectangle that is written later. This modification can be done with statements in which you give a suitable value to the graphics context property named global alpha. In the world of colors, the alpha value usually specifies how transparent a color is. By setting the value of global alpha, you can specify that all colors have a certain transparency or opacity. You should modify the value of global alpha so that the colors are not transparent at all when the canvas background is filled. Then, when the rectangles are drawn, the colors should be somewhat transparent.